Assalamu alaikum, peace. It's Fatimah, Coach Fatimah, 1/3 of Outstanding Personal Relationships. And for this installment of Quintessential Queens, I'm going to be discussing successful polygyny in 2023. But before I do, I want you to hold on for a second and check this out. Assalamu alaikum, peace. It's Fatimah, Coach Fatimah, 1/3 of Outstanding Personal Relationships. And I'm aware that you might not have been able to hear me as I began this live broadcast of Quintessential Queens. And I will be discussing successful polygyny in 2023. Now, before I do, make sure that you guys let me know if you can hear me. Give me a thumbs up in the comments. Let me know where you're from, how you're feeling, what you're doing on this fine day. It would be evening for me. Thank you for the comments and things like that. I will be posting some things across the screen and sharing with you. And make sure if you're not subscribed, make sure you comment, like, subscribe, and share this video because sharing is caring. So with that being said, let's hop right into it. I wanted to give you all a little bit of time to kind of join in with me. Again, make sure I know where you're from. Leaving comments below. How you feeling? How is your 2023 going thus far? Whether you're monogamy, polygyny, or whether you're single, maybe you're thinking about being in polygyny. Now, a couple things I want to share very quickly. If you're not aware of maybe where to begin if you're new, because this next thing is really good if you're new to polygyny. And even if you're not, and you're still trying to figure some things out, this whole marital journey, again, whether you're monogamy or polygyny, it is a process. So we want to respect that process and absolutely honor it. But let's start by doing something first.
Make sure you're looking at Siri.
Yes. Just 1 second. I'm doing some, making sure audio visuals are good, guys. So awesome. Everything sounds good. Perfect. So let me get back to what I want to share with you. Now, if you're not aware, the 3 OPR coaches, which include myself, we created the Polygyny Roadmap. Now, Coach Nazir has written one for the men. Again, if you're new, this is an awesome tool. Pick this up. He did this for the men, for the husbands that want to know where to start and some best practices, again, for best results. And my awesome co-wife, Coach Nyla, and I created the Polygyny Roadmap for women. And you can find these at polygamy.roadmap.com. I'm going to actually share that with you. So if you check out the bottom of your screen, it is an ebook. So it's really awesome stuff. Again, type question marks, or I should say, if you have any questions, make sure you put question marks in front of those so that I can readily identify them. At the bottom of the screen, you'll see that. So if you put those little question marks, I'll see it right away prayerfully. Now, oftentimes, many times, countless times, I've been asked personally, how do you practice polygyny effectively? There's a few questions that I want to get into about that. That's an awesome question, because then that means you want to move forward with purpose and have success. You can move forward in purpose and have it absolutely collapse if that's your intention. So that's what we'll start with. You got to have a healthy intention for it to work, and at least say you put in some work for it to do that. So we want success, but what are we willing to give up in order to gain success? So sometimes it's the ego. Sometimes it's the desire to absolutely be the victim in it all. Now, is that for everyone? Is everyone doing that? No. Some people want to be in polygyny. A lot of men, a lot of women want to be in polygyny because it is a solution, an ancient solution for a modern day problem. If we look at single parent households, and, recently I was finding out that Black men and that the sperm of Black men is so scarce now that women are just purchasing it and getting it from the banks, and it's that they can't keep up with demand. And I said, well, why is that? There is an issue in society where there's not this nuclear family. And if it is, the media has done everything they can, and the powers that be, to try to eviscerate it off the face of the earth. But there are still people that want that family. Whether you're of color or you're Black or wherever you're from, we know there's an attack there. There's so many things on social media now that are destructive. But before that, they used commercials. They used, and they still do. They use commercials. They use books. They use anything anyone's going to pick up and try to get information from. So one thing I learned is that about this family that they called him the father of propaganda. And what he did was, his name escapes me right now, because I just thought to share this with you all. It was his job. He made it his job to make cigarettes look completely attractive to women in the 1950s. And he did that by saying, they'll curb your appetite. You won't gain weight. Pick up a pack, start smoking, and you just keep that little tiny waist that your husband loves so much. Women started smoking. My grandmother was one of them. And I asked her as I got older, I said, well, why did you smoke? Because my grandfather smoked too, and he would tease her. He said, well, you don't even inhale them. You're just wasting cigarettes. And after the cancer, lung cancer started to surface, my grandfather went to the pipe, but my grandmother stopped smoking in one day because a family member had got lung cancer. So I asked her, I said, why were you smoking? Because I remember being a youngin' and being in the bed with them and in the dark, and I'd see these two little orange lights, this little fire, and they were smoking. And she said, well, it curbs your appetite. That's why I didn't smoke. And I didn't really remember seeing her eat that much, but she smoked. I said, Now, learning this information made sense to me because, and I said, if this was the aim to destroy the image or to put a certain propaganda out there, then they're doing it in other areas. And one of them is within the nuclear family, where there's a balance of a husband and a wife, and the power of having a husband and a wife in a healthy relationship, because it can be powerful and be volatile. So let's get into the questions that one should ask themselves if they want to be successful in polygyny in 2023. One of the main questions, and I had to ask myself this, is who am I? Like, what's my purpose? Who am I? And I said, well, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm like in and out. I'm an entrepreneur, I'm an artist. I'm all these different things. I love fashion. I love building and teaching people and being with people. I'm funny. I like humor. I like when people are connected. I like to cook, different things like that. And then I said, well, that's not deep enough. What's my goal for my family? And I found that I have some common values and some common beliefs with my husband. So I was like, okay, this is the goal. This is what we're going to do. And it's like, yeah, but what are you going to do? Who do you want to be outside of that solid structure? Who do you want to be? And then I had to go 10 levels deeper. And I said, well, I can't ride the coattails of him and whatever goals he has. Then I have to have my own. So part of being in marriage, period, is understanding that you are married, but you're individuals within that marriage. So his goals might be different, and they are indeed different than mine and my children's goals and the goals I have as a mother. The goals I have as a Muslim woman are different because he's not living his life as a Muslim woman. He's living his life as a Muslim man. So what he needs to produce looks much different than what I need to produce as a wife and a mother and so many other hats that I wear. It's going to look completely different. Greetings to you all. Greetings. I see your greetings. Let me know where you are from in the comments. I appreciate your kind words. You know, I know you all always have a kind word. So yes, who do you want to be? Who is that? Who are you? And then we'll ultimately get into who we want to be. The next question would be, who are you married to? Who's your spouse? Who are you married to? Or who do you want to marry? Now, that could go either way for men or women, but I'm a woman, and I'm not going to say I'm anything other than that. Now, I had to think about who I was married to early on in the marriage. Year 1 is not who I'm married to in year 28. Not supposed to be the same person, because people evolve and they grow if they so choose. So the different relationships that I've had with the one husband that I have changed over time, because we both have changed over time. So I told a friend of mine something, and I always bring her up because we always talk. And I said, I was done expanding family. I was done. I had 7 children. I was finished. You know, Allah willing, I was done. So I said, but he wasn't. So the vision I had for marriage and family and these things and these goals looked different than the ones he had. That didn't mean his way was wrong. That didn't mean my way was wrong. That just meant there was some assumption on my part. And then I said, no, I don't know if he's done or not. I couldn't be completely sure, because then that would mean I'd have to be in his mind, in his intentions, in his brain, in his body, in his thought, in his processing, what he wanted for himself. So part of being successful in polygyny, period, whether it's 2023 and beyond, is understanding that a husband who might have goals to expand family, what if you say, well, I'm done here at 3, 2 children, 4 children, 7 children. That's it for us. One thing I learned is that we don't get the privilege or the right to tell someone else that is a grown man that that's it for you, because that's it for me. I don't want any more children. You know why we don't want them anymore? If we don't want them anymore, it's because we went through the pain and we're getting older. It's changing. But is it fair to say, you don't get to have any more either, though? That's it. Go get that vasectomy. I had somebody tell me once. He said, well, I know you're ready for him to get a vasectomy. No, I'm not. Because last time I checked, that part or any part of him didn't belong to me. So I said, no, he's grown. He makes a decision on what he wants to do with his parts. That's what it's about. Because, see, that speaks to ownership when I start going, yeah, it's time for you to get that vasectomy. You need to get on that. Versus now, if you have a conversation with your husband and that's what he wants to do and you all decide and that's the thing, then that's the thing for you. But the question was asked specifically to me, or the statements were made specifically to me throughout the years. So it's not my job and it's not my right to say, you closing up shop, because I've closed up mine. So part of it is understanding who you're married to. And if you don't know what's going on and there's some concerns, it's asking questions. It's asking questions and taking away or extracting the assumption that I got this guy figured out right now, because, see, this is who he was 5 years ago. This is who he was last month. This is who he was when he was 19. This is who he was when I had the 3rd baby. This is who he was because I made him this way. It's much different than what's in front of you. So I said one day, no, he's not done. Clearly, he's not done. And that's okay because he's got his one life to live. And I don't get to live vicariously through him and then kind of guide and manipulate and try to tell him, you know what, I'm going to plant these little seeds and you're going to get a vasectomy. You're not going to have another wife. You're not going to have any more children because, see, that's not the vision I had for us. The vision I had for me personally, if someone wants to ask me that question that I had for me personally, I did that. I did that. And I didn't do it by myself. I didn't do it by myself. I came from a broken family. I wanted to be married. I wanted to have children with the same man. That's how it worked out for me. That does not mean by any stretch of the imagination, because that's where we get that messed up too, that women that don't have that have screwed up or they're less than or they lack something in life. Because I don't create anybody. I didn't create this timeline. I didn't create my life. I didn't create my own birth or whether I was going to be male or female. Okay? I didn't have a hand in that. That was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That was the creator. That was him. I didn't have nothing to do with that. So for me, when people say, well, they got kids and they got there's other dads saying, okay, so what? Just like I think about my parents, although they might have had the desire for things to work out, sometimes they don't and they're not supposed to. And we're to honor people that have decided this is not going to work. I got to move on. I tried. I got to move on. I can respect the decision. It's a respected decision when two people can say, this is not fruitful. This is not serving us. We must get a divorce. This is just not going to work. And they find other people that it works with. That's okay, because there's a stigma in polygyny that the men that practice polygyny ought not marry used goods or women that are divorced or women that are single mothers or whatever the case may be. And that one is very frustrating. And it's so not fair to the children and the women that have decided that they want something more, that this is not something that is going to serve them anymore. And the husband might feel the same way. We can be cordial, but we just can't be married. And we can co-parent our children, but we can't be married. And then the two people go, okay, let's do what's best for the child. So it's a respected decision when we say, it's not going to work. It's time for divorce. Or it might get so ugly that it comes to that point. Or people just simply grow apart and it comes to that point. They have to make a respected decision. They have to make a very serious decision. So it's not something you just throw on the table and I'm out at the first sight of trouble. But I get it. I come from it. I understand it. I respect the decision. But what I don't respect is when people go, yeah, no, they shouldn't marry them. Only the virgins. Only that's it. No, that's a man-made restriction that other people put on men that are in polygyny. And I'm an initial wife in polygyny, and I said it. That is something that society will go, that's what's best. You go do that. Get that vasectomy while you're at it. It's a very intimate decision for a man, and I've seen that. I've witnessed many men kind of grapple with it and say, I don't care if it's in a YouTube comment. I don't care if it's a DM, whatever the case may be. It could be coming through their wives with our coaching and our counseling as well. They'll say, you know what, I'm having trouble with this. I don't know what to do. I feel some type of guilt. I'm feeling pressure. It is an intimate decision that they must make for themselves. And of course, they have to make sure everything is balanced and do their research. And check out Outstanding Personal Relationships on YouTube and Facebook. Because I'm not the one training the men and the husbands about polygyny. I can help them understand the world of wives. A co-wife can help understand the world of wives and women and how we feel and the emotions we go through. And maybe they'll get some nuggets from them. I'm pretty sure they will. However, it's an intimate decision. So who is the man today before you? Who does he want to become? Maybe he's saying, I'm not ready yet, but I want to become the man that's ready. I want the information. I want to expand my family. And I love the beauty of being able to say, it's not my job to tell you when you need to be the man for that job. Support you, yes. Have those hard conversations, yes. Let's have them. But sit here and go, you're not ready. You're not grown enough. You're not man enough for that. So finding out who we're married to and what their goals are. I had to think about it in my own life. I had to think about it. And it wasn't because one of my neighbors was like, well, why now? She asked me, well, why would he do this now? Because she was seeing him with my co-wife. She's our neighbor. So she was like, okay, what's going on? And she had been my neighbor, I believe, for 14 years. And I said, well, when's a good time? When do you think is a good time? When would you like him to practice it? She couldn't answer.
Polygamy what?
She could not answer.
Reporting for duty, husband, sir.
Formation. I am Coach Nazir.
I am Coach Fatimah, his wife.
And I am Coach Nyla. I am also his wife.
We are the founders of Outstanding Personal Relationships and Polygamy Bootcamp. And if you think that's how polygamy actually works,
You are sadly mistaken.
but you were laughing, right? I know you're laughing. That's funny. Anyway, we're also the authors of Let's Talk Polygamy Uncensored. And we want to let you know something, because when it comes to practicing polygamy, there's this whole fantasy on how that is, at least on the men's side. Like, I'll do this, you're going to be step, lock, and step. Not at all. Not at all. The challenge is, when we embarked on our polygynous journey, before us raising, 12 children and traveling the world and everything else, it looked a whole lot messier and it was a whole lot more challenging. All right. So what we've done is we put a special gift together for you at polygamybootcamp.com to kind of let you know what the pillars are to really practicing it at a high level, especially if you're new, or if you just have the idea, or maybe you want to just kind of figure a few things out.
Right.
Yeah. Many initial wives believe that they're being replaced, or that their husband doesn't love them anymore, and they don't really know how to deal with that or their emotions.
And many subsequent wives, incoming wives, if you will, or second wives, have the feeling of where do they belong, or that they are not good enough and they have to do extra in order to get the acceptance and the attention and the affection of their husband. And we dispel all of that. polygamybootcamp.com.
Go there, get your free gift. You will thank us later, especially if you're looking at practicing polygyny in a healthy fashion. Make sure you click the link below. Go ahead and get your free gift, and we look forward to sharing more fun stuff with you. So shape up
Or ship out.
Click the button below. Assalamu alaikum.
Peace.
I tell y'all, that cracks me up every time. I love it. I love that so much. That day was so fun filming that ad. I love it, because you think about what you've been through, and then to get there and be like, this is a lot of fun. And we've had tons of fun before, recording and filming and our bloopers and stuff. But that day was funny. And shout out to us for holding it together when we were filming that. That's one of my favorite core memories of being in polygyny that day. So yes, Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I will leave some questions for the Q&A at the end. And again, guys, if you have any questions, place them with question marks in front of them so that I can easily identify them. What I was speaking about before the commercial went on was finding out who we're married to, or who you're married to, and what their goals are. And that would lead me to my next question is, who do you want to be while your husband is practicing polygyny? Now, one of the main things that I found for myself is that people victimized me constantly. And then you start to kind of victimize yourself and go, well, wait a minute, now I ain't did nothing wrong. What is up with this? And it's not about something being wrong within you. It's one of the main things that Coach Nazir always says, and he always means, is that he wanted to become more. And this same friend of mine that I've had for 20 plus years, and I have a few that I'm extremely close with. They're my sisters. And not through biology, but through culture and religion. One of them said something to me today. She said, it's like he said he wanted to become more. And she was like, it's that. And she's not married. She's newly divorced. And she was like, it's that. That's what it is. It's about being in this life and becoming more. So my neighbor said, well, why now? I said, well, when do you think he should have did it? Let me know what you think, since you know what's best for us, for the family, for him, and what he wants to be as a man of that age at the time. And let me know. She just could not answer me. So I said, we don't get to stand here on the sidewalk and decide when it's supposed to be. It's done. It's done. And she couldn't say anything. She knew I was right. But people want an excuse because she had already victimized me. And it did, he screwed it all up. And I said, one thing about me and the way I've kind of built myself up to become is that I do not find being a victim attractive to me. It's not an attribute that I like, that I find attractive. I like being strong and assertive, but not rude. And I like to be in a position to practice really, really solid integrity. I like to be brave. I like to have a lion heart. That is my natural, that's where I'm comfortable. That is where I am comfortable. And now some people might look at that and go, well, that's kind of intimidating to me. And I've been told I was intimidating before, but I've also been told I was funny. I've also been told I was smart. I've also been told I was caring and compassionate towards people and a defender of others. And I love helping the underdog. I love that. And I've said this before, for example, of being respectful and not being victimized in polygyny and making yourself a victim. One of the things that I did was having a rough day, and I was in a space and someone was talking really greasy about someone that was in the midst of my co-wife. And I took it as a kind of a threatening posture. And they made a comment kind of like someone was with her. I wasn't there on a day. And they made a comment about if she something. I think after they said, if she something, I went kind of deaf because that's what I do. And I said, well, that's fine. I said, but nobody better touch her. And they were kind of taken aback because they didn't see us talking much. This is really long. So this is years ago. This is in the early years. And they were like, let's make sure that everybody keeps their hands to themselves. And they were very taken aback because they had it kind of mixed up that because we weren't close at that time. That's what I was talking about. People change and evolve if they want to. That I would be cool if something happened to her physically in front of me. And I said, oh, yeah, I want to see that. But they weren't expecting me to act that way. Well, you victimized me to the point where you thought I wouldn't defend her physically from somebody up in here? Oh, honey, let me tell you, you had me messed up with that one all the way. So I learned, and they learned something valuable on that day. It was that, she's not a victim, and nor is her co-wife. They kind of got each other's back if something jumps off. Because we were in the midst of a lot of people that didn't understand our culture. They didn't understand the dynamic. They didn't care. They wanted us to learn and be like them. And I said, well, that's not going to happen. Yeah, you know, we got to know who we're dealing with. And I wanted them to know that who you're dealing with is not going to allow you to put your hand on my co-wife. And if you mess with me, I will say to you, you're not allowed to put your hand on my husband's other wife. See, that one, that'll blow anybody out the water that doesn't like it. They didn't like it. I don't care. You don't have to like it. I love it. So taking that label of victim away from me, away from her, away from our husband mattered. And it still to this day matters. What you say to yourself about yourself, your husband, your wife, your co-wife, your marriage. You don't have to be best friends. You don't have to necessarily get along and be buddied up and go grocery shopping and all this stuff like that. But don't be mad at me or others if that's what we're doing. Because it does indeed take work to get there. It doesn't happen overnight. It didn't happen overnight for us. It was rough. It was a rough start. We've all said it. We've all shared it. It's all over social media. It's all over YouTube. It's all in everything. So it's not something that is hidden. Okay. So I just want to make that point that this is what personal development and growth is about. That's what it's about. So to act like it's not and say you're going to get these results overnight. No, you won't. Anything worth having, and it's worth it because it allows you to work on you, is worth putting in the time. So people say, well, what do you do? What happens is if you want to have better results in polygyny, you have to pick up better habits for it to be successful. So what does that mean? It means, okay, if I have negative people, I had all these people in my life, not all these like legions, but I had a group of women in my life that were positive. When all this happened, when Coach Nyla, they're married again. When all this happened, core group, positive. One of them was not so much because her husband was in polygyny. So it felt like if I was having a good day, she wanted to kind of put some doubt, and to the point where I had to break that relationship off. Because what I'm not going to do is hold your hand and make you feel better about me having success in polygyny. I can't drag you. Because if that's what you're on and you're constantly negative and you're pessimist all the time, I can't let you drag down my momentum and all this work. Because a lot of work you're going to do on yourself. You're going to do a lot of work on yourself if you want it to be successful. And everybody's doing their work. And sometimes it's not successful. We're not going to act like it is. It's not. But when multiple people come together and they have better habits and they have healthy goals and intentions, it's really difficult. It's really, really difficult to screw that up in a number of different areas in life. If it's your spirituality, if it is your family, if it is your future, your finances, your health, if you got healthy intentions and healthy practice, healthy habits, and you got a positive outlook and you're doing the work every day, it's difficult to screw that up. It's difficult to fail. It's difficult to experience disappointment upon disappointment upon disappointment. So if I'm met with a pessimist and every time I say, well, this was a great day, the family did this, we did that. Oh, yeah? Well, I bet he did it out of guilt. No. Absolutely not. No, ma'am. Absolutely not. Because then that says a lot about your character. But I can't babysit that energy, and I won't try to. So finding out who you are, finding out who your husband is, finding out who he wants to become and be, and who you want to become and be, And who you're deciding to label yourself as in polygyny matters. So when people go to victimize me, then I turn it back around on them and let them know who I am. And I've had to say more than once, I'm not the victim. I'm not the wife that was cheated on. This is not cheating. Let's call it what it is. And if you don't know what to call it, I'll let you know. It's polygyny. We're both wives. And they're so busy dealing in the fact that I said another woman was married to our husband or my husband. They ain't got time to keep saying I'm the victim. You know, the math equation starts going up and they start thinking and the brain starts moving about and assumptions start going. And they go, well, this woman just called this other woman his wife. You doggone right I did, and I'll do it again and I'll keep doing it because that's a fact. So just because someone else has not accepted that fact, that has nothing to do with me. I gave you the information. It's on you to accept it or not. And I won't stick around for you. And I won't wait for your validation on what I know to be true. So it has much to do about what we put up here, what we're listening to, what we're reading, who we're hanging out with. What are we doing every day? How are we balancing our time? Are we blocking out time to learn and do personal development and spiritual development? What are we doing? That's important. So, excuse me, that's important. I'm going to put a comment up here. And again, if you all, so many people ask about, do we do coaching? Do we do counseling? We absolutely do. And you can go to coachnyla.com for details and coachfatimah.com for details as well. And we also, this is a really very important training. We all three of us train very deeply on these issues and much, much more. We've done the traveling. We've read the books. We've done so much personal development research and so much groundwork on marriage, polygyny, relationships, whether you're monogamy or polygyny, and you don't have to be married.
Isn't it frustrating when you think about your husband that you've had for a long time or maybe even a short time, and then they finally decide that they want to practice polygyny? Then you go, what am I supposed to do with that once you decide you want to practice polygyny? Am I going to be thrown outside? Are you going to divorce me? What's going to happen to me? You go through all these emotions and all this frustration and trying to figure it out. And then you're on the emotional roller coaster going round and round and round with your own ruminating thoughts. You feel defeated. You feel jealous. You go, what if she's younger? What if she's smarter? What if she's taller? What if she's smaller? What if he likes her more? Those are some of the things that I found extremely frustrating, and I did not know what to do as a wife for so long and a mother. And then I said, well, we can kind of have some fun together alone and all these things like that. But then no, he had this idea of polygyny. So I said, well, where do I fit in? And then I discovered that I had to make a choice. I said, I can either stay in a place of hurt and feeling betrayed and confused and dealing with my own emotions and this new normal that he decided to sign up for. So with that, I said, that's enough. I don't want that anymore for me. So I made a big decision, and that was to make sure that I read the books, healed myself, travel, and uplift my own self-esteem. Because I did that, I also decided to create the Nourishing Fulfillment Counseling Program. I wanted to be a solution, and I wanted to be part of my own solution and help others in the process. I know what it's like going on that emotional roller coaster and not knowing that, okay, this is something that my husband wants to do. He wants to practice polygyny. What can you do? You can only control yourself because, again, you can't control anybody else. So with that, I want to make sure that I offer it to you as well. It's so important to understand that growth has to happen, and growth can't happen if we're stuck in our own comfort zone. So with the Nourishing Fulfillment Counseling Program, I make sure that I equipped others with the same things that I had in those same practices for best results with less legwork. So to learn more about my nourishing, fulfillment, coaching, and counseling program, visit me at coachfatimah.com for details or hit that button below in order to apply. I will see you inside. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.
There I am. Okay, guys, I'm going to put a question on the screen. Just 1 second. Okay. Question. Would you say that the initial wife or additional wives, that they fear their husband remarrying because they fear the unknown and or see it as a threat? That does happen, because when there's change, many times people are afraid because we're afraid of change, because we are afraid of the unknown. And that's where we talk about having the hard conversation with your husband about polygyny. One of the things that I know my husband did in speaking with not just only me, but it was really awesome to get third party confirmation, although I did not need it, nor was it required, is when he spoke to my grandmother. And she called me and he said he ain't going nowhere. And that's like the first thing she said as they spoke. And I didn't have, my father didn't have much to say. And then my grandfather passed on. So she felt like it was her job to talk to him and see what his intentions were. And I had already done that and I already knew. But when that was said, getting that clarity, getting more clarity off of what I had already been given multiple times was a big deal, because she heard it and she was the most pessimistic, negative one about it. And it was just like, eee. And when she said it, she didn't follow it up with anything snarky, because it was time to get very serious. So it's not abnormal for that to happen, but I do find when husbands and wives sit down and talk, and your husband can have the opportunity to say, I'm not going anywhere. I know it might feel like this is headed down that path. That's not what I'm about. This is not my intention. I want to keep my family together. Because if we think about statistically who asks for the divorce or who files for the divorce, it's women. It's not the men. So I don't think, and it didn't go based off of religion. It went based off of the ratio of men and women, and who's married and who's not, and who's divorced and who's, still married. And I said, wow, it's really a really awesome stat, because I didn't really think of that. And I said, the men don't want to see their families broken up, although we may think sometimes, well, you don't act like you don't because of the way you're moving around or your behavior or whatever the case may be. But typically when they get married because they want to stay married. This man was saying, and he was just talking about financially today. I saw it on IG. He said most men, and he had a stat, and he said within 2 years of their wife's death, they remarried. So he was just saying, have your paperwork together, have paperwork together, make sure your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed. And I said, wow. And people would say, oh, they're such horrible people for getting married 2 years after their wife dies. And I had to think about it. I said, how would it be for a man to go around without a wife? How would that feel? And I wouldn't know, because I'm not a man, and I'm not, I don't have a wife. I have not had one that certainly passed away. And I said, it must be extremely lonely to not have someone there that's caring for you in the way that a wife can care for you, similar to, but not the same as a husband being gone from his wife, not having someone there to really be a companion and help you through the rest of your life, when you've been used to being in love and having a wife and someone there for you, and you're there for them, and having I remember this comedian that was saying, he said, sometimes we don't want y'all to talk to us. We just want y'all in the house with us, because you being in the house with us gives us some type of reassurance. We might not talk to you, and I said, he is crazy. And I said, no, there's always a flicker of truth in a joke. And I said, no, he's probably means that. Just, it's a reassurance for a man to be working or to come home, and his wife might be in the kitchen cooking, that feels good. My wife is here with me. I don't feel lonely. He's not going to possibly jump up and say, oh, I'm lonely. What to do. But to know he has a wife in his life that loves him and that's taking care of him, that feels good. And to not have it anymore. I don't know too many men that are going to want to sit in that. It'd be very difficult for them to sit in that. And I always got sad when I would see a man without a wife or on IG or especially in our neighborhood, when we would find out a brother or a man's wife had passed away, he looked completely different, even in the face, than he did before. Just so lonely, so lonely. So yes, that's not something that's abnormal, but having a conversation that might be difficult, but again, not hostile, is important, because he might want to give reassurance, but sometimes we got to invite them in and let them give us some reassurance. Yes, your husband does belong to Allah, not you. Now, everybody that we talk to, that we train, that we coach, that we counsel is not Muslim. So some people believe in other things than we do, but your husband indeed belongs to his Lord. He belongs to Allah. He does. So, and again, everybody doesn't have the same beliefs, but I'm a practicing Muslim. Our family's Muslim. There's many Muslims that do watch our channel and support us. Thank you to everybody that does, and that has a kind word for OPR team, the OPR team and the OPR family. We do indeed appreciate it.
I'm Coach Fatimah.
And I'm Coach Nyla.
And she married my husband.
Yes, I did. And we are co-wives, and our husband practices polygamy, or better yet, polygyny.
Were there challenges? Of course there were, especially early on.
Oh, yeah.
There's different emotional pain, like you're dealing with jealousy, insecurity, trying to figure out what's going on with your emotional roller coaster.
Are you going to fit in? Will people accept you? Will the kids like you? So those different things. We wish we had a guide, a roadmap, if you will, to help us through those challenges when we were going through them in our early stages of polygamy.
Lucky for you, we figured this thing out.
It took some years.
It took some years. And we wrote one for you.
Yes, and it's the Women's Polygamy Roadmap ebook.
Yes. Because we know that we have so many different things that might be going on with us as wives. Again, we might be dealing with jealousy, insecurity, trying to navigate different emotions.
Yes, feeling insecure and not being able to know where you fit in, if you are going to be accepted or whatnot, as well as blending the families. You know, will the kids like me?
Yeah, some really serious issues, but we packaged it within our awesome ebook. So make sure you all grab one today.
Yes, you get all that information and more in that. So do not wait. Make sure you grab your Women's Polygamy Roadmap ebook today. Click the link on this page anywhere. Assalamu alaikum.
Peace.
Please grab your copy.
I love it. All right, guys, I'm going to show another comment. For me, it's really hard to see my man with other women. One thing I'll say, and there's more to this, how can you see your man with other women? It would be hell. Now, this is one thing that I do. I've been doing this for over a decade. And for those of you that are new that might not know our backstory, it was not an easy transition. It was not anything that was impossible, though I also would not be sitting here today. Now, one thing I didn't do was I never called my co-wife the other woman, or I said wife, because when we say wife, and this could be, unintentional on your part, and I understand. But when we say wife, it puts honor. When we say other women or other woman or his baby mama, and I'm not saying that's what you're saying, sister, but anything like that on there, then what happens is our brain is listening all the time and it's negative. So when I started to say, and I've never said baby mama, girlfriend, side chick, none of that stuff. I'm Muslim. That's his other wife. Same way my co-wife says that's his other wife, referring to me. There's honor placed in it. And then when I speak honor out of my mouth, it's in my heart. It's right in there. Couples with it. So having the right energy and having the right words come out of our mouths when we're referencing co-wives. And you don't have to say my co-wife, da. She has a name. You can use her name if you're not ready to say co-wife. That's fine. Everybody's not there yet. I wasn't there overnight, but I did not say baby mama, girlfriend, or he cheated on me. And if people said that to me, they got corrected immediately. Immediately. And I would tell them, even if they were Muslim and they said this to me out of their mouth, you know that that's his other wife, and you know that that's not infidelity and cheating, right? Well, no, I'm not saying it, no, but that's what you said. So I'm just making sure we don't say it again, and then we're telling ourselves the wrong thing. Yeah, teaching people how to treat you is good, but you must teach yourself how to treat your own self as well in your marriage. So placing honor is important. And we have natural jealousies and things like that. We do. We're not void of it. But to have an evil intent or this envy behind it and wish to seek out to destroy or try to destroy another marriage or try to destroy our loved ones and be malicious and manipulative and try to play games within it, it's all going to come back on you if that's your intention. And again, I'm not saying that's your specific intention, sister. I'm just saying that it's not abnormal to feel like, yeah, it's weird. My husband's walking with someone else. He's walking with his other wife. The same way we walk together. We walk. We eat dinner together. We go out together. It might not be the same day. It might not be in the same exact way. We're all different people. And polygyny is happening to more than just one person. It's happening to our co-wives. It's happening to us, our children, our husband. It's all happening to everyone else in a different way. But knowing that we can only control ourselves and no one else is another thing that is extremely important to understand. So if this is to stretch him, if this is his test, if this is something that he wanted to do to become more, then what I learned is that it wasn't my job to try to stand in the way of it and try to work it and manipulate it like I wanted it to be, because that doesn't work. The thing is getting used to, the more I saw my co-wife and the more she saw me, the more we got used to each other. And then I looked up one day and we were standing together and Coach Nazir was dealing in his laptop and we were talking about business and, or we'll go to the store, we'll be shopping and he might be in another store. So you never know where you're going to be. So I remember when there was a time it was this way and I said, now it's this way. But a lot of du'as and praying and extra ibadah. I said, this is his form of worship. Him practicing polygyny, that's a form of worship for him. And I said, would I stand up in the middle of the floor while he's offering salat, prayer, and block his way and do all this stuff in front of him and distract him and make noises and clang pots and cause a disturbance? I had to kind of think about that. I had to really think about that. Does he have to practice polygyny? No, it's not required of him, but it's a requirement that he put in his life. It's a goal. It's something that he wanted to do. And I don't want to stand and dance in the way of it and cause a disturbance and a distraction, because then I'll have to answer for that. I'll have to answer to that. So that's part of knowing who you're married to. Knowing who you're married to is knowing what rights they have, what they're allowed to practice, and what they're allowed to not practice. That's important. So respecting the fact that he can practice polygyny helped me heal. helped me heal. Saying his other wife, people go, aren't you his wife? Yes, I am. And so is she. Oh, that helped me heal. And knowing that I had to work on me and my ego and my jealousies and all that stuff, that helped me heal. Still helping me heal. You're still going through it in a good way though, because you decided I'm going to grow. I want to become better. I want to become more too. Maybe not in this way. I can't become more in the way in which he's becoming more, but he's becoming more in other areas, not just in polygyny. Being a father, being a businessman, being a Muslim first and foremost. And this is part of that journey for him. And I don't want one of my attributes to be on that day, I caused all this disturbance and all this trauma. That's what I want my attribute to be. No, I want to pass my test. I want to pass my test. And I'm still working on it. It's still a student, still learning. So yes, we get used to it. Oakland, California. Alhamdulillah. My grandmother went to school in Oakland, California, and she loved it. And then she moved to the Midwest and she hated it because she said it was ugly. So if that's it, guys, I'm going to be on my way. Thank you so much for joining me for this live. I really appreciate it. You guys had some good comments. You had some good questions. Make sure you share all our videos. Watch them. Watch everybody's videos. And I always say that because I always mean it. You can learn something from each one of us. And make sure you pick up your polygamy roadmap at polygamyroadmap.com for details. It's an ebook. There's one for women and one for men. So yes. Boom. And then I don't think you guys did. There it is. There it is. This is the one that Coach Nazir wrote for men. A little blurry, but I think you guys could see that. So yes, I appreciate you guys for being here. I'm hoping that you got some gems from this live. I really wanted to talk about this. It's important to think about what your goals are, who you're married to, who you want to become while your husband is practicing polygyny, or if he's thinking about practicing polygyny. Have those hard conversations because those hard conversations matter. They don't have to be hostile. Remember that. So with that, guys, I'm going to see you all in the next one. If you are new to us, just really quickly, YouTube, make sure you comment, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you guys know anytime that we are uploading new content on this platform. And if you don't follow us on IG, make sure you head over to there. We're Outstanding Relationships. Make sure you follow us, and we have content daily on there as well. And for our coaching and counseling services, we have Coach Nyla. Visit her at CoachNyla.com and myself, Coach Fatimah, at CoachFatimah.com for details. And I appreciate you all. Thank you so much for the kind words. I will pass them on to the OPR team, OPR family. So with that being said, I'm going to leave you guys with some GLC. Make sure, and say it with me if you know it, make sure you are growing intentionally, loving fearlessly, and connecting on a higher level every single day. I'm Coach Fatimah. I'll see you guys in the next one.
Congratulations on being proactive and intentional with your learning. We're super excited and so proud of you for doing that. And we're excited about the things that you're going to learn in this program.
But before you get started, we would like to offer you something and let you know about something very special. And that is our coaching and counseling program.
Yes, it's actually a bundle what we are doing now, because usually our one-on-one coaching sessions is about $150 per hour with us. But we are bundling it up where you get 6 sessions with the coach of your choice, whether it's Coach Nyla, me,
or Coach Fatimah, that would be me.
Yes, and 6 sessions we're giving you one time only for $750.
Yay! So to learn more about that, if you want to sign up, we want to make sure that you do that because you're going to receive so much with our coaching and counseling. And again, you can pick who you want to coach or counsel with. You're going to get different resources, whether it be books, audios, worksheets, and some action steps moving forward.
Yes, to make sure you are being the best you can be, so you can not only be great, but be outstanding. So it doesn't matter if it's your relationships, whether it's business, whether it's just your life in general. The coach you choose is going to walk you through and work with you every step of the way for 6 sessions for $750 in this bundle. So you like what you're hearing? Make sure you click the link down below. And if not, no worries. We will enjoy seeing you in the course. So make sure you get started. But if you don't take advantage, that's it. So you want to make sure if you want to take advantage today, right now. We'll see you later. So make sure you are growing intentionally,
Loving fearlessly,
and connecting on a higher level
every single day.
Take advantage and connect on a higher level with one of your coaches. And we'll see you in the course. Assalamu alaikum.
Peace.